All right, so if you guys know me, you know I love a great martial arts film. And this one has Donnie in. Let's get into it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my Sakra movie review. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Yes, guys, besides superhero comic book films, martial arts are my favorite. And that's where we are right now with Sakra, a film that I found out about on Instagram, I want to say winter of last year, 2022. I did not know anything about this movie. I just saw a promotion with Donnie going around blasting people with his palm. And I was like, hell yeah, we have to do this. But like I said, this is being directed by Mr. Donnie Yen and also Hi-YAH Cam. And I am even not that familiar with Donnie Yen as a director. When I go down and look at his filmography, I didn't see anything. I don't even think this is his directorial debut. I'm like, is this a typo? But maybe it is. And that got me even more excited for Donnie Yen. As a lot of you know, he is in theaters right now with John Wick 4 as a character by the name of Kane. And he's possibly one of the best things in the film besides John Wick himself. But he was also in Mulan that came out in 2020, Enter the Fat Dragon, and also what he's known for in the recent past is the Yip Man series, and they have Yip Man 4, the finale. I remember I did see that in theaters, and there was a review on my channel just for that. But guys, I was really looking forward to this film, like I said, because I love martial arts films. As far as my expectations were concerned, they were in the mid to high level. I was just going in saying I just want to see some good hand-to-hand action, some good hand-to-hand fighting, and someone get their ass kicked, please. But before we get into the nitty gritty, before I talk about all my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly what this film is all about. When a respected martial artist is accused of killing, he goes around in search of answers about his own mysterious origin story and the unknown enemies working to destroy him. All right, guys, the first thing that I really did like about this movie is what we signed up for, what we came for, and that is the martial arts, the fighting, and they dang near knocked it out of the park. I love the fact that you did not have to wait this long to get into the fighting. And just want to give you a side note, this is a wuxia style martial arts where that is like martial heroes, wanderers in a martial world. There's a lot of flying around as how they've been depicted in past few years. Use of powers and being able to control your chi and ki, depending where you are, will determine how you pronounce that. And that is the style of this martial arts movie. But like I was saying, you don't have to wait that long in this film to get to the fighting. At the very beginning, they kind of give you a brief story of, but long ago, this group of people invaded this group of people, and there was jealousy and love and hatred, and everyone was in their feelings. And now we have our film Sakra. We meet our hero played by Donnie Yen at the very beginning. He is an orphan child and he's just trying to get through life the best way that he can. But right at the 7-minute mark, guys, that is where the fighting begins in this film. And I will say that my jaw was at the floor. As soon as one character comes onto the scene, you know it's a confrontation. You know it's about to go down. And of course, one of these characters is Kui Fong, played by Donnie Yen, the main character in this film. You don't know who's going to win. You don't know what style is going to come out, but you know something is going to pop off. So you just sitting there watching just like this. I love the confidence, the arrogance from both of the characters. That type of thing right there does get me to the edge of my seat, does make me salivate at the mouth for that first punch or kick to be thrown. And when it was thrown, I love it. Why do I love it? They immediately get into calling out each style of martial arts. Oh, that's the dragon claw right there. Now, I don't know about you, but if I heard somebody busting out a dragon claw, I'm gonna be like, God damn. But this other foe is like, I've heard of that. Last time I learned that was when I was in 5th grade in grade school. So I'm just like, man, how good are these characters in this movie? And let me tell you, they are master level good. These ain't no regular black belts. If you want to look at Kung Fu and Gung Fu, I would say these men are at least on the 5th or 6th Dan level. And on my own personal note, we've all heard of Bruce Lee, an amazing martial artist. I don't have anything negative to say about him, but in my opinion, and I want to go too inside baseball with this, I'd say that Bruce Lee was no more than the 2nd Dan in the whole world of Kung Fu, Gung Fu. I could be wrong, but that's just my personal assessment. But y'all, the people in this movie, they were at a good 5 or 6. The way that they were able to control their level of chi or ki, like I said before, depending on where you are, is determining how you're going to pronounce that. They are true masters. I mean, man, this is not just some regular hand-to-hand. You got Donnie Yen, Quay Fong in this film pulling out the 18 subduing dragon palms, blowing mofos away. And I'm just like, woo! But y'all, the beginning fight is cold as hell. I like it. It is a good display of fighting. It is a good display of powers. It is a good display of chi or ki, light skills, as the characters are running across walls, jumping up and down from the 1st and 2nd floor, and just gliding across tables. There is no wasted movement when these men are running around trying to kill each other. And I love every moment of it. Seriously, some of the best, I don't want to say the best that I've ever saw, but some of the best that I've seen on a small screen, big screen, any screen out there, with each character calling out their style of martial arts. And what I really love is a lot of the times when these characters are using their life skills, they are not able to sell the weight. You can tell that there's some type of behind the scene device or wires to help them fly around. No, in this film, it really did look like these characters were doing what they were doing. It was believable. I was saying to myself, you know what? If somebody starts training at the age of 3 or 5, it is very possible for them to reach this level of skill at some time in their life. And I'm very, very confident that there are people out there in the world that can do things like this. Of course, they're not going to upload it to YouTube or TikTok. Why would they do that? But hey, again, that's just my personal opinion on the matter. And besides the fighting, we have to talk about the characters that actually are fighting. And the main character played by Donnie Yen, his character's name is Quay Fong. I like him. He's very territorial. He's like, hey, I'm not going to get in your business as long as you don't get in mine. But if you're doing some type of nefarious activity in my part of the land, I'm going to have to step in. And I respect that. And he also just gives a good reasoning of the cloth that he's cut from. And I can do nothing but respect it. All he wants to do is live up to the expectations of his surrounding peers, loved ones, and family, and also not be shamed when he does reach the doors of heaven. And I cannot disagree with the man right there. He just has a carefree attitude, good person towards everybody, does not want to cause any beef, and will call you out if he feels like you are causing unnecessary strife or chaos in his part of the land. And in this film, it's around 2 hours and 10 minutes with the credits. And it's not that long. It does fly by. I also do like the shots, wide shots, long takes of rural land, seeing Donnie Yen and his team, his gang, his Beggars Clan riding around across the plains on their horses. It does look beautiful. Also complemented by a great score, great soundtrack, and the sound effects when these men are fighting is dope as hell too. I love that. You can really hear the weapons cutting through the air, someone punching a wall or table or whatever being destroyed. Being able to watch this at home, I still had that theatrical effect with the surround sound and all of the bass pounding. It really did give you a great experience if you are a martial arts buff like myself. There are a total of 3 fights. I wish there was more, but there's only a total of 3, 1 at the beginning, 1 in the middle, and 1 at the very end. In just a little bit, I'll talk about which one was my favorite. But guys, that's going to conclude the things that I really did like about this movie. Now let me move over to some things that really did not work for me. And unfortunately, as great as the martial arts is in this film, I still wanted a little bit more. They were great with the light skills and the use of chi, ki, or powers, also with the weaponry, but I wanted just a little bit more broken down hand-to-hand close personal fights. They had little sprinkles of it, and maybe that does not make sense at the level of these martial artists in this film, but I beg to differ. I've seen it done in other films, and while those other films were able to accomplish it that this one wasn't, this one was still able to accomplish things that those other films weren't. So you kind of get a mixed bag of goodness of just kind of still wanting more. Also, like I said, there's only 3 fights in this scene, and I will say that my favorite fight in this movie is the first one that pops off in the first 7 to 10 minutes of this movie. I'm not saying that the other ones were bad. In the middle of the movie where you get that fight scene, that is the greatest display. Well, actually, no, it is one of the greatest displays of his abilities, powers, and effects in this whole movie. But if the first scene is the best, that kind of waters down everything that comes after that. It's a little bit anticlimactic. Still good, but anticlimactic towards the end. Another thing that I really didn't care for, or I'll just say wasn't as strong as the fighting itself, was the story. That was lacking. I felt that the creators, the writers of this film were more concentrated on setting up the sequel to this movie, because at the end it is a clear sequel that's coming, but the way they edited that end was a bit sloppy and jarring. I don't know why they did it that way, and some of the footage that they used to set up the sequel should have been used to enhance the story in the first place, in the very beginning of the movie. That would have made things make more sense, in my opinion, because I watched this film twice and there's still an aspect or two that I am confused on. And I also didn't feel like all of the deaths were necessary in this movie. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. A main plot point, there was one character that saved another character's life just to try to kill him later on in the movie. I really don't understand that. It's not really making sense to me. And also, of course, I did see this in its foreign language. I don't remember if it was Cantonese or Mandarin. I think it was Mandarin. So, of course, there were subtitles. At some point in time, the subtitles were just flashing up there too quick for me to read every line of dialogue. So I had to press pause, take it back a few times. And I'm not used to doing that. I don't mind reading subtitles at all. And I've been doing it since I was a child with Japanese animations, Fist of the North Star, Dragon Ball Z, etc., etc. So that was kind of a pain. But the main thing that I wanted more of, I mean, the story could have been a little bit better, and also the martial arts was great, but I have to be honest, I still wanted a little bit more. It was amazing, but for my particular taste, there's just nothing that gets me more excited than when two characters are fighting close combat, trying to get that inner position, trying to hit those pressure points on the body to end the fight immediately as possible. It just wasn't there all the way. It was, but in other aspects, you'll just have to see the film to know exactly what I'm talking about. I will say this though, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, come on, y'all need to get Donnie Yen over here, bring some of this stuff into the Shang-Chi universe. Come on now. Jackie Chan, he was not in this movie, but Donnie Yen need to be in MCU. I really did enjoy this film, guys. It is not a complete knock out of the park home run, but it is good, and I do definitely feel that you should watch it when you get a chance. I'll go ahead and give my rating for this at the very end of the film. But for now, guys, that is just my opinion. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and help me reach 50,000 subscribers. And if you do subscribe, you will get movie reviews, spoiler movie reviews, series reviews, a weekly movie news roundup show, and also me either going live or having a recap of some of my favorite television shows that are streaming right now on all the various platforms, like Snowfall Season 6, Power Book 2 Go Season 3, Bel-Air Season 2. I also have some trailer reactions and a few interviews as well. But guys, if I had to rate Sakra out of a 1 out of 10, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Yes, a 7.5 out of 10. I would rate it higher just because of the martial arts, but that story does bring it just down for me just a little bit. And when it comes to martial arts films, my most favorite entertainment in the game, my most favorite genre, I'm gonna grade a little bit harder. And I'm also just, with any other film and television show, I'm gonna just really try to grade a little bit harder. But guys, again, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.